Hey, y'all. As a growing family, my husband and I love game night, especially when it's Wayfair edition.
Let's do it. You gotta name as many Wayfair furniture and decor categories as you can. Ready? Go.
Sofas, bar stools, beds, ottomans, outdoor seating, bookshelves, kitchen tables, garden sheds, mid-century modern lamps.
Time. Nice. You got 9 out of a lot. Not too bad. Keep practicing by visiting wayfair.com, where you can shop every style for every home.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
You're listening to the Cruise Tips TV Unplugged podcast. Today on the show, we're revealing my next cruise and doing a short review of our last little voyage on Carnival Legend. Welcome to Cruise Tips TV Unplugged. I'm your host, Sherry, and we invite you to join our cruise-loving family as we travel the world creating cruise videos and vlogs. In this podcast, we talk tips, tactics, and strategies to help you make every cruise your dream cruise.
Your little voyage.
Yeah. Both of them, actually. I feel like you've been kicked to the curb.
Yeah.
This is just not cool.
Somebody's got to hold down the fort.
Right, exactly. Sometimes these things happen, right?
Yeah.
So Junior and I just did basically like a Bahamas plus Amber Cove in the Dominican Republic cruise out of Galveston. Worked out really well. Everything went really smoothly. And for those of you who didn't catch our latest YouTube announcement, our live stream, I'm actually headed to New Zealand. I'm leaving today to go on Discovery Princess for a cruise that starts in Auckland and goes all around New Zealand, which is an absolute dream come true for me. And it will end in Sydney. But alas, I'm leaving you behind yet again, my love.
It's all good.
I'm sorry.
Just be safe.
I'll be safe. So let me give you guys a little backstory here. Not a long backstory, but this Princess Cruise was a last-minute invitation to come over to New Zealand. They're doing a kind of like a press voyage around New Zealand to showcase something so cool. Princess has this new partnership program that's like a shore excursion program that gets pretty deep with local connections, whether it's naturalists, conservationists, wildlife experts. They're going to be taking us around New Zealand to see some incredible things. And the good news is I had some subscribers tell me that they've done some of the excursions that I'm going to do, and they said that they are fabulous. So cool. So I think it's going to be a lot of outdoor sightseeing because we have beautiful fjordland there. We have Milford Sound, the Sounds, which some people say like rival Alaska in their beauty. So a lot of outdoor time. We're going to have some wildlife. I get to see some penguins. I'm so excited. A couple of different types of penguins. And I think it's just going to be full of surprises. When I went to New Zealand, when I was 16 years old with my family, we did Australia and New Zealand. We stayed on the South Island in Queenstown, which is in the center of the South Island. Very different from all of the places that I'm going on this particular cruise. This one starts in Auckland, which I believe is in the north, and then goes down to some of the areas that are in the south, like Dunedin. And I think it's going to be pretty epic. So stay tuned for a review on that in February. It won't be before then. In fact, there will be no podcast next week because you, my friend, are going to be holding down the fort, keeping Junior busy, and I wouldn't ask you to record a podcast by yourself. That would he's making this face. You guys would just love. He's like, yeah, no, you're not good there.
No, well, we did it one time.
You and Junior?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was awkward.
It was awkward. Well, I forgot. I was gone for a long period of time, and you guys just surprised me with that one. I thought it was really sweet, but I can't remember the topic. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Anyhow, that's okay. We'll catch up when I get back, and I'll have certainly a lot to talk about because, guys, I am getting ready tonight to board a 15-hour flight. Full-on red-eye, departs at 11 p.m. I am not into it. I've been under the weather. I'm full-on better now, but I'm still tired. So I'm just worried that I'm not going to be able to sleep. I'm worried that I'm going to start coughing or something and freak someone out. You know how it goes. It's tough, but I know that once I'm there, it's going to be incredible. Once I get that jet lag sort of taken care of and get that first good power night of sleep, everything's going to be amazing, and it's going to be an incredible adventure. I'm sure that I'm going to meet some amazing people from Australia and New Zealand from the ship, and hopefully some folks that are part of the media over there. It's always exciting to meet new friends when I cruise on these types of trips, and I'm sure to have some good stories. So that is to come. But the focus of today's show is to let y'all know how our cruise on Carnival Legend was out of Galveston and to give you all as much information as I possibly can about the cruise and, where we stayed beforehand, where I parked, and what we did in ports. And I also want to talk to you guys about the food on Carnival Legend and kind of how it compared to last year's cruise on Carnival Miracle, which was a very similar cruise. It was right out of Galveston. It was a longer one. I think it might have been an 11 or 12 night cruise. And, you get a different crowd. First, I think we should talk about that. You're cruising out of Galveston, you go on a 4-night or a 7-night, you're going to have one type of crowd. Any port, right? You're going to have more of a traditional cruise crowd. Got to have some partiers on there, especially if it's Carnival. But you start amping up to a 10-night and the demographic shifts drastically. So on this Carnival Legend cruise, this was a early January 10-nighter. And I'd say the demographic was solidly over 50 for the most part. There were families with little kids, babies. You had a good contingent of people who, there's probably a lot of homeschool kids because of the fact that school started in the middle of the cruise. But I think there were also some kids and teens who maybe were on break for the first half of it and just bailed on school for the second week. You kind of got that sense. There were more teens than I expected on this trip. The ship just got a renovation not too terribly long ago, and it looks nice. They redid the nightclub. They redid a few different things, and they did a great job. They did not redo the staterooms, and I think the staterooms are a little funky. We stayed in an ocean suite, which is it's like a step above a junior suite, but a step below a grand suite. And it was okay. It was the space was wonderful, and having a bathtub was great. You guys know me and my weird bathtub thing. But the outlets didn't work very well. The outlets were really limited. There was one outlet in the whole room, you guys, and it was in the bathroom vanity. So if you wanted to plug in a laptop out in the main area, it was super inconvenient. The only other way you could get a second outlet is if you found a stool or a chair, stood on it, found the behind the TV plug. There was a secret behind the TV plug. So it'd be nice if they did a little modernization of their staterooms by putting some lamps on the side tables with some USB charging or something, because it was really limited. And Junior and I had to get pretty clever. And for a suite, you're always like, okay, that's kind of disappointing. But otherwise, the condition of the ship was fabulous. So older crowd, much more mellow. Great cruise director. His name is Felipe. In fact, it's his last cruise, and I'm not sure who's coming on to follow him. But the crew, you guys, on Carnival Legend, absolutely 15 out of 10. Outstanding. Friendly. Prompt. Never waited for a drink. Never waited for anything. If there was a problem, and we had a few problems on this cruise. Our bathroom got kind of weird and stinky. We had to call about that. We had some folks in the dining room that didn't like their food and they wanted to send it back. It wasn't a big deal. The staff was so incredibly gracious about everything. And of course, if you treat them well, they're going to treat you well, right? We always handle problems with grace and the common sense that you're going to get back what you give. But just, man, Carnival, I don't know how they do it. I still think that they have some of the absolute best crew in the entire cruise industry. They were just so outstanding. Unfortunately, Carnival, for those of you who don't know this, they've gone down to once a day cleaning your room service, like stateroom service, which I think if you're sailing in a suite, they should definitely up that to 2 times just for maybe a towel refresh real quick at the end of the day or whatever, come and check on it. I don't like the direction this is going with the cruise industry. Not all cruise companies are doing this. I'm so thankful that Princess still has twice daily stateroom service. And I think Holland America does too. But I know Norwegian doesn't. Carnival now doesn't. And it bums me out because for me, I don't need much. I don't need a big room cleanup twice a day. But it really is so nice for them to just come in really fast and see if you need anything like fresh towels or whatever, especially if you're traveling with family. And the room can get messier when you have, 3 people in a room or whatever. So just a little update on that. Before we get to ports, I do want to talk about the food on on Legend, and I'm saying I accidentally said Miracle because on our cruise last January on Miracle, it was a really rough start food-wise. And we're not picky, y'all. We are very easygoing when it comes to food. We typically like Carnival food. We're not foodies. We're not snooty. All I want is something to be relatively hot when it comes to the table if I'm eating in the main dining room and maybe a little selection in the buffet. The main dining room on this ship, again, no joke, 15 out of 10. Most everything we had came to us hot, outstanding food. If you're going on Legend or Carnival, if you see short rib on the menu, get it. It's phenomenal. There were some other things too. The brisket, just so good. A few things I didn't care for that we had over the course of the week. There was a couple pastas that our party ordered that weren't the greatest. I don't think they're doing pasta very well. The venison did not get good reviews. But I think if you eat venison, you're probably like picky about it. Maybe you even, harvested it yourself, so you might be a little more selective. I don't like venison. I don't particularly choose it, but I heard that it wasn't that great. But overall, I found the food to be, especially in the main dining room, outstanding. Buffet was meh for me, except the deli and the pizza was very, very good. And Blue Iguana was absolutely fantastic. Guy's Burgers, I don't know, last couple cruises I've been on Carnival, they haven't been hot. Like I get the burger and the meat patty feels like it's cold. That is a buzzkill for me. And I don't think they're toasting the buns. It's like kind of weird. So I only had one on the first day and then I just never went back. I just stuck with Blue Iguana, salad bar. Deli when I needed some protein and like sandwich with meat on it or something. We definitely got pizza a couple times and the pizza was really good. So the food just outstanding. I still think that it was 10 times better than Carnival Miracle last year. And I think every ship, gosh, with food, it's so different. Like every single ship, you can have a cruise line with 5 ships and the food on every one will be totally different. But it was great. So let's talk about ports and kind of the layout of this cruise. This was a 10-nighter, and it was one of those more exhausting cruises because you had 2 sea days to get down to your first port of call, and then 4 straight port days back to back, and then 3 sea days home. So overall, we found that like having 4 port days was kind of tiring because if you're doing high adventure stuff, which I can't say it was super high adventure, but we were doing active things in every single port, like physical stuff. You really didn't get a chance to recuperate. So by day 3, we were getting kind of crotchety. We're like, okay, I just don't even really want to get off the ship. I need a break. I need a sea day. But overall, it worked out. And then those 3 sea days coming home, you're like, you start getting a little bored. You're like, okay, it's sea day brunch again. It's sea day brunch again. Like the weather's getting colder as you go towards Galveston, you get a little bored. So I think everybody in our group was kind of like, okay, next time when you're looking at a cruise, try to see if you can get sea day, port day, sea day, port day, sea day, port day, because it's so much nicer. Probably isn't that simple, especially in the Caribbean, because sometimes you're just island hopping every day. But we found ourselves a little bit worn out from that. So our first port of call was brand new to me. And it was Celebration Key, which is Carnival's private destination down in Freeport. And it gets people give it a lot of, let's just say, crap. It gets a lot of guff for a lot of different reasons. But I got to tell you, I really liked it. I thought that it was a very nicely designed, well thought out place. So here's the pros and the cons. Okay, the first pro for Celebration Key. Guys, it's better than Freeport. Okay, Freeport stinks. Freeport is the worst cruise port in the Bahamas and Caribbean. There's really not much to do there. It's kind of feels sketchy when you get off the ship. And this is a great alternative to that. Now you might not have to go to Freeport and you can go somewhere where you can, if you want to, you can spend a free day at the beach or the pool. Another pro. This place is huge. I mean, it's massive. You've got the Starfish Lagoon, which is more geared towards families. It's a massive freshwater pool with basically like beaches all around it, free loungers. There are upcharge cabanas everywhere. There's a ton of free loungers and umbrellas that you can take advantage of in just about every zone, including Calypso. I think it's called Calypso Lagoon. Yeah, Calypso Lagoon is also free with upcharge cabanas and options. They have floating cabanas in the water that you can like party on. That's for partiers. They have a big bar DJ kind of a situation over there. It's more of a party. It feels more like Royal Caribbean's Perfect Day at Coco Key when it's spring break, right? Like that's the vibe. That's that part. And then you have Calypso. I think it's the Cove. Calypso Cove is like the beach part of the 13 and up Calypso part of all of this. So if you got kids 13 and up, you can go to the Calypso side. If they're under 13 or 13 and under, you want to be on the Starfish side, right? And then I think they have the Pearl Cove Beach Club, which I didn't have a chance to go check out. And then they have Lacono Cove, which is like where you do all your shopping. They have all Bahamian vendors there. It's good and bad. It's good because they're supporting the local economy. I felt like it was a little bit bad because I think they really jack up the prices. You're not really doing as much haggling. You can haggle, but it's not as much. And like I saw a little teeny tiny purse that I wanted in a boutique and it was $75. And I was like, nah, I'm not, I want to support the locals, but I didn't want it that bad.
The new year means new health goals, not just for your body, but for your finances too. But did you know financial health is directly related to identity protection? You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that are outside of your control. It only takes one mistake, and not even your mistake, to expose you to identity theft and lost funds. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points per second and alerts you to threats you could miss on your own. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock's US-based restoration specialist will fix it, backed by the $1 Million Protection Package. In fact, restoration is guaranteed or your subscription money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or other financial losses from identity theft alone. Resolve to make identity, health, and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Visit lifelock.com/iHeart and save up to 40% your first year. That's 40% off at lifelock.com/iHeart. Terms apply.
So, but beautifully designed and just a gorgeous pool or beach day. So there's some cons, and I get it. I get why some people don't love it. And we even had people in our group like, they were like, I don't want to go back there. That was stupid, and that's okay. But I personally loved it and would like to go back. And for me, it's not as exciting as Perfect Day at Coco Key by any means, but it's clean, it's pretty, and it's nice. So the cons are that food is a little different than it is at other private destinations. You can't just go to like a lunchtime buffet and eat all you want. They give you one like meal ticket per person. Now, the bright side of that is that the food is much better. You have food trucks and restaurants to choose from. In my opinion, the food was really good, fresh. It was made to order more than it would be if you were eating out of like, one of those buffets where there's like flies buzzing around the chicken, which is gross. So I liked it. I got the fish tacos and a Caesar salad, and both of them were absolutely outstanding. And other people in my party had like chicken tenders, stuff like that. Some of the kids in our party bought ice cream that day, and they said it was some of the best ice cream they've ever had. My son bought a shaved ice, and it looked really good. It had like a little mango candy ring on top, and you could choose from all the flavors. It's fun. But the bad thing is if you're hungry a second time, you're gonna have to pay for it or go back to the ship. But it might be worth paying for. We paid for a few things, and we actually thought it was really nice. It's really good. There is another pro that I forgot to mention, and that is that the staff there is extremely friendly. A lot of times when I go to the Bahamas, I get a little bit of a cold feeling from people there sometimes. Not always, but like this was not the case. They have hired, at least for the time being, they've hired some really outstanding, friendly, warm, wonderful hosts that come in probably from Freeport every day. I'm assuming that they do. And they did a killer job of making people feel very, very welcome. So that's another pro. Back to the cons. The cons, your drink package doesn't work on the island, and the drinks are really ridiculously expensive. That stinks. Even like bottled water, you have to pay for it. And so I think a lot of people feel like, well, I get off the ship. I have a drink package. I'm staying on. This is lame. But I would say you can do both. Go spend a couple hours on the island, buy one drink or none, and then just go back and enjoy the rest of your day. But for me, that was, I didn't care. I don't like to drink alcohol during the day, but it was kind of a bummer feeling like I had the drink package and I couldn't even get a bottle of water or anything like that without having to pay for it. And your meal voucher does not come with a drink. You just have to go to the water fountain basically and like get yourself a drink. So that's another one of the cons. Another con is their giant, massive, huge freshwater pool that everyone is like, wow, it's so pretty. it's freaking ice cold. It's so cold that nobody was really in it. Now, it was winter in the Bahamas, but they need to heat it. It's not cool. It's like, you guys, come on, heat the pool. If you want people to have a great time, don't cheap out. You need to put some heat in that pool. Nobody else except for me and my whole party got in the pool. They were like, oh, no, thank you. And they put their feet in. They were like, I'm out. It was way too cold. So that's kind of a bummer. Thankfully, there's other things to do. You can play pickleball. You can play volleyball. You can, go to the beach and get in the water and do all of that. But boy, is it cold, 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 cold. And I think as far as Collins, in my opinion, that's it. It's a great place. It's really pretty. It's clean. It's new. It's shiny. The water slides, just thought of another con. Sorry. No, I didn't dig it. You get a $15 pass and there's just 2 water slides, but they're identical. They're racing slides. So you basically go on them one time and you're like, well, that was lame. Unless you're 8 and all you want to do is ride the same water slide all day, it's not a good deal. I got almost stuck in mine. It was so slow that I almost stopped in my water slide. And that's just not, I don't think that's really what I'm all about. I don't really want to go on a water slide I'm going to get stuck in for $15. So we literally tried it one time, me and Junior, and then I bailed and I think he went one more time and that was it. So we wasted $32 basically on nothing. So I don't recommend that unless your kids just love water slides and you think they're going to do it all day, but it's literally 2 slides that are exactly the same. So just managing expectations with that one. All right. So our next day was Princess Cays. And on that day, we had been there before. This is Princess's private destination down in Eleuthera in the Bahamas. And it's a beautiful place. It's similar to Half Moon Cay, a little bit less idyllic, but still beautiful. What most people do is just go to the main beach there. They grab a lawn chair for free or rent a clamshell for, I don't know, $50 or something. And they float around the water and they have the lunch and then they get back on the ship. And that's great. Our group wanted to go snorkeling. So what we did is we rented a daybed, which is beautiful, by the way. It was up a little bit elevated, kind of on a very small cliff above the water by the cabanas. So you actually have access to both beaches. On your left side, you have access to the main beach that the general population goes in. And then on your right side, you have access to the beach that most of the people who are in the cabanas go in, that has a beautiful little cove. And it's super pretty. I love that little beach. So we started off over on that little beach. We rented some floaty things. I don't even know what they are. They weren't rafts. They were something that was a half of an inner tube with a mesh thing under your bum. And you just float in it. It's got a cup holder. So we got those. The grown-ups kind of did that for a little bit, the lady grown-ups, and then all the kids and everybody else went out and did their snorkeling or goggling or whatever. And they all wore out pretty fast and then just chilled in that cabana. The only downside about the daybed, I'm sorry, it wasn't a cabana, guys. It was a daybed that we rented, is that there's not really good shade on it. It has 6 absolutely massive pillows on it. They're the size of a Volkswagen. I mean, just huge pillows. But the top of it has this it's instead of putting an actual shade, they have ropes that go across the top and then ropes that come down. So the ropes that come down are kind of cute, trendy, looks great in pictures. But you're kind of getting sunburned because they need to put a canvas over the whole thing because you couldn't really get enough shade. But they offer a free lunch at Princess Cays if you get to go there with your Carnival cruise. It's the same kind of thing. They bring the food off the ship. It's delicious. We had pulled pork, chicken, burgers, hot dogs, and beautiful fruit and desserts. Everybody was really happy with it, and the food tasted so good that day. So this is a part of the story where we were starting to get a little tired because we were okay, 2 big beach days, and we're okay, we're beat. So our next day, again, keep in mind, this is the 3rd port day in a row, was Grand Turk. And it was totally pouring rain when we pulled into Grand Turk. So we're okay, this doesn't look good. Do we even want to go to the beach? We were all just going to walk down the beach and stop before we got to Jack's Shack and just grab some rented umbrellas and go float in the water. But I had proposed the idea that you could rent a golf cart there, and I'd never done it, but we could try. So everybody in our group, which by the way, guys, we were traveling with a family that we met last year on Miracle that has teenage kids. So it was kind of a different thing for us. It was really Really fun. The teenagers all had a great time together. But we all decided then that we were going to go and get a golf cart. And to our surprise, they actually had a 6-person golf cart. It was beautiful. It was really nice. We rented that. They gave it to us for $150. They said it was supposed to be $180, but you could keep that thing out all day for $150, which is cheaper than most shore excursions. So we were pretty happy with that. For 6 people, we didn't feel like it was a bad deal. Kind of buzzed around the island, went to the lighthouse, saw donkeys. There's donkeys that just roam the island. It's really funny. They're like walking in the street. You have to watch out so you don't want to hit them. The water there is beautiful. And then we just kind of tooled around the island, stopped at a few shops. And then ultimately everybody kind of decided to get back on the ship because they were tired. We're like day 3 here and we're pretty beat. But it was fun. And I do recommend give that a try if you want to try something different in Grand Turk. And then for our last day was the shore excursion that we were all most excited about. And that was a repeat. It was what we did last year in Amber Cove. It's called the Damagua Falls. If you've seen my Instagram page recently, I posted a reel about it and you can see what it's like. Damagua Falls is kind of a high adventure, highly active excursion where you get picked up at just outside the port. It's about a 15-minute walk. You go out to the main road. We booked it through Shore Excursions Group, and we had a completely private tour for the 2nd year in a row. We were the only ones. So basically, for $75 per person, you can do this, and it could end up being private for you too. Can't guarantee that. They take you on a 20 to 40-minute ride up into the low hills, and then you don a life jacket and a helmet, and you hike 45 minutes farther up into the mountain. And when I say up, guys, this is a strenuous hike. Everybody was fine in our group both years that we did this, but this is not for someone who, if you can't walk on a treadmill at an uphill incline of 5% for 45 minutes to an hour, you'll be miserable. Don't do it. But if you can walk, you're fine. You don't have to run. You don't have to do anything crazy. So you get to the top and then you go backwards down a big ladder and you start proceeding down these waterfalls. And there's 2 different ways you can get down. Some of them you slide down a rocky slide, and others you literally jump off of a waterfall into a big pool below. And it's a lot of fun. It's something that you do first thing in the morning, and you'll still have a ton of day left when you get back to your cruise ship because it's just about 3 to 4 hours long. So you're looking at like 9 to noon, 9 to 1 max. And then they usually stop at a fruit stand on the way home, get you some fruit. And they also gave us rum punch this time, which was totally unexpected. I don't remember that from the first trip. And bottles of water. It's a great time for people who are in good shape and who can handle the physicality of the hike. Then it was back on board and we had 3 sea days back home. Lots of fun deck parties on this cruise on Legend. The weird thing about this cruise, and I hope they don't do this on every cruise, but they made the formal night and the white night deck party, the glow party, were the same night. So you felt like you had to go get dressed for formal night and then after dinner, go change into your white clothes and go to the deck party, which I hope that they don't normally do that on Carnival. If anybody knows, if you're seeing that as a trend, would you let me know? Because I think that's a little bit odd. But 2 formal nights, 1 80s party. The 80s party was great. Very much the standard boilerplate. You have all of us wacky ladies who were born in the 70s or 80s wearing our Amazon little kits that we bought, with the goofy leg warmers and the Madonna shirts and the whole look. But it was a ton of fun. And overall, I would say it was an excellent cruise. And I think Carnival did a great job on this one. Embarkation and debarkation were smooth as butter. We parked at an indoor lot this year called Galveston Park and Cruise. And we ended up at that one. It's a covered lot because I really wanted a covered lot and I had waited too long and that was the only thing left. I paid $330 for 10 nights, which sounds like it's a little bit expensive, but when you do your research, you'll find that that's about the average. 20 to 30 bucks a night is not unusual. And then before the cruise, we stayed again at the Residence Inn by Marriott. It was nice. It's a newer hotel. It's starting to show a little bit of wear. Last year when we were there a year ago, it was brand new. Like you could smell that new carpet. Everything smelled new. This year it's starting to feel a little more like, okay, beachy Gulf town, faded, getting a lot of guests that are kind of rough on it, but still a very friendly stay, delicious breakfast, free breakfast before your cruise. And we had an outstanding time. We were on the ship by 11 a.m. on embarkation day, off by 8:30 on debarkation day. They did everything absolutely flawlessly at the Galveston port. Just fast, wonderful, convenient. Everything was great. So that's pretty much it. I'm sorry I talked the whole time, my friend.
No, I don't mind.
You don't mind. You're ready
No,
for a little
yeah.
rest. You look very distinguished sitting in front of the fireplace over there on this cold day, nice and relaxed. But friends, I got to catch a flight. I will catch you when I get back from New Zealand with so much to share. I cannot wait to tell you all about it. And I am so thankful for you listening today and always. And until next time, we'll see you on the high seas.
Thanks for listening to Cruise Tips TV Unplugged. If you like our show and want to know more, check us out at CruiseTipsTV.com. You can also find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram by searching Cruise Tips TV. We'd love if you'd leave us a review wherever you're listening to this podcast, subscribe to the show, and tune in next week. Until next time, we'll see you on the high seas.